What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Bleacher Report World Football stream. As usual, I'm your host, Adrian, also known as Rabona TV, over on YouTube, which, by the way, speaking of which, shout out to everyone who is joining us, whether in the app or on the BR Football YouTube stream. Be sure to drop your comments below, no matter where you're watching from, because I know this one is going to be very opinionated, very debated, heavily debated in the chat, I am sure. Because today, as you know, probably from looking at the title of the stream before you clicked, we're going over the Champions League team of the season so far, the best 11 of this Champions League season, because we're at the halfway mark of the Champions League phase. 4 down, 4 more matches to go. Some teams already looking in jeopardy. I know my team is sitting on 0 points. Horrible stuff. Really, really atrocious stuff. But yes, drop your comments. We'll be talking about a lot better players than the ones that represent my team, right? Let me know who you think should have been in the team or if you agree with my picks. And without further ado, people, let's get started with this best 11. And we'll start at the very, very back. Let's choose a man between the sticks first off. Starting in goal for our goalkeeper, I went with someone who has been unbelievable so far, and that is Real Madrid's Thibaut Courtois. Honestly, he'll go down as one of the greats at this point with how he has been playing, in my opinion, at least. He's someone who shows up over and over in the Champions League, often bailing Real Madrid's back line out in previous years, in finals, knockout phases, group phase, league phase now. Doesn't matter. He's going to show up. As you can see so far this time, he has 4 matches, 22 saves, 2 clean sheets. And, you know, this backline is still trying to gel a little bit, and he's been bailing them out. Just look at the match against Liverpool where he made 8 saves in total this week. So 22 of those saves were made in one match, just like when he played against them in 2022 in the final where he made 9 saves, making those unbelievable saves on Salah, Mane, and the like. Now, there are times where he looks unbeatable, such as whenever he plays against Liverpool, even though he did end up losing 2-0. As we already know, he kind of haunts their nightmares from those finals, or at least he did, before they beat them twice in a row. But still, without Courtois in there, Real Madrid would be a very different side over the last couple of years. This season, only 2 goalkeepers have made more saves than Thibaut Courtois, who's made 22 so far, as you know. That's pretty crazy to think that a Real Madrid keeper is in third for as many saves made. That just shows how the defense is struggling a little bit. So, yes, if Real Madrid do well this season, it will be down to Thibaut Courtois. Royal over on the app says Mikel Merino has to be in there. Striker Merino? Off of one match? I don't know. If we're talking about his last match, maybe. Certainly in the match day team of the week, that's for sure. Unbelievable how he just keeps on getting played in that position and keeps on delivering. Mikel Merino, what a guy. Anyway, let's move on to the right back position. For a good year now, in my opinion, Achraf Hakimi has been the best right back in the world. And this season, that's continued, honestly. Now, of course, he went out injured against Bayern Munich, could be out for a month or 2 at this point. They're still doing some scans to get like a final word on that, but it's looking like it could be a 5 to 8 weeks kind of thing, which is terrible for both Morocco with the Africa Cup of Nations coming up and PSG. So as the tweet says, we wish him a speedy recovery. But he's become a monster under Luis Enrique. Last season, he had a career high of goal contributions, putting up numbers most wingers would be proud of, right? Most attackers would be proud of. And this is a fullback. Already you can see he has 3 assists in 4 matches this season in the Champions League. An assist against Leverkusen, an assist against Barcelona, and against Atalanta. Everyone but Bayern, where he went off injured in that first half. Rapid pace, unbelievable end product. There are times where, due to the nature of how PSG plays, he can get caught out a bit up the pitch, right? But I think there are few clubs who would say no to having Achraf Hakimi in their back line due to having way too much upside. Plus, he has that pace to make up for any of those mistakes he may have, just like an Alphonso Davies, you know? Players who are better in attack than defense, but have pace to make up for their missteps, if you get what I'm saying. So Hakimi, we'll see if he'll be at the Africa Cup of Nations, but hopefully he gets the rest that he needs so he can come back for the latter stages of the competition and continue to light it up. Now, who's going to be playing next to him? At center back, the first of our two, we have Mickey van de Ven of Tottenham. And no, it isn't because he scored that Puskas-worthy goal against FC Copenhagen, that Heung-min Son copycat goal that he got. Van de Ven has been fantastic for Tottenham in this competition. He helped save their blushes against Bodo Glimt with a goal, plenty of clearances, plenty of recovery runs, tackles, as you can see, 9 of them. And overall, he's been quite good defensively while also adding a threat in the attack. Obviously, nobody foresaw that goal against FC Copenhagen, but he's a threat from set pieces as well. Like the rest of Tottenham, his standards dipped a bit against AS Monaco. You know, we allow a match or so for people to have a dip. Also, before I get to that, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. Mickey van de Ven on 6 goals, the same as Victor Gyökeres. That is crazy. The guy's been lighting it up. But as I was saying, his standards and the rest of Tottenham's did dip a little bit against AS Monaco. Guglielmo Vicario had to bail them out. But in every other match, he's been fantastic. Bodo, Copenhagen, and Villarreal. His ridiculous pace, sort of like we were saying about Hakimi, allows him to make those recovery runs very well. And honestly, one of his worst abilities in the past has been his availability due to all the injuries, but so far they're so good this season, and with an extended run of games, Van de Ven has been very good. For his partner, right next to him, we're uniting North London, people. We're giving peace a chance here. You cannot speak about defense in the Champions League without speaking about an Arsenal player, and Gabriel, you are the representative for this team. Gabriel Magalhães. Now, Arsenal haven't conceded a single goal this season. David Raya in goal has only had to make 7 saves, I believe, across 4 matches. That's an average of 1.75 saves per game, and he can thank the guys in front of him for that. That's a ridiculously low number, and is honestly why he isn't in this team as the keeper. He hasn't had to face enough shots. But Gabriel has been one of the best defenders on the planet this season, physically dominant, reads the game very well, can handle any striker at the moment. And not to mention, he's an absolute cheat code when it comes to set pieces for Arsenal. He scored against Atletico, then assisted Gyökeres, then winning a header from another, when he was winning a header from another set piece. He's just unbelievable. As you can see, for Club and Country, 16 games, 13 clean sheets, 5 goals, and assists, 5 goal contributions, just out of this world right now. Gabriel is playing unbelievably well. Now, the goals and assists obviously aren't what make him a very good defender, a highly sought after defender, but when you couple it with his defensive dominance, you mean clearly he's one of the common denominators in all these clean sheets, right? You get this man, an all-rounder of a defender. So they're on pace, Arsenal that is, for an insane season. They haven't conceded a goal while playing at home in the league phase, both last season and this season. And in general, they haven't conceded a goal since September 28th across all competitions. 8 matches in a row. Unreal. Gabriel's a big part of that. Now, who's going to be next to him in the left-back position? Someone who will add a little bit more to our attack. It's Nuno Mendes, who we will have as our left back of PSG. We got the PSG on the right and PSG on the left right now. And Nuno Mendes is not your average left back, is he? When you look at the left backs that exist in the world, the ones that are fit, that is, and are playing at a high level, you would be hard-pressed to find a better one than Nuno Mendes. Alphonso Davies hasn't played in ages. Cucurella is playing pretty well, but the level that Nuno Mendes has been playing at has been great. Now, when it comes to handling wingers, he does incredibly well, as he did with Yamal for Portugal and PSG. Yamal did decent against him in the last game, but we're talking about one of the best dribblers in the world now. So that's we'll give him some grace there, just as we gave some grace to Van de Ven for that one match against AS Monaco. Now, the bad thing is, as you can see, is that it looks like he sprained his knee. PSG have played more matches than I think any other club in the last year or so, considering they played every single game in their domestic league, domestic cup. Then they went all the way in the Champions League, all the way to the final, all the way to the final again in the Club World Cup. So you're seeing the kind of repercussions of playing so many games at this point. Now, when it comes to getting forward and contributing to the attack, this man plays like a seasoned winger. I mean, he can beat guys on the dribble. He has pace to burn, and his end product is great too, whether it be a pass or a strike at goal. Now, PSG are spoiled because, like we said, we have Achraf Hakimi on the right, and they're still a massive part of PSG's success at the moment. So taking both of them out, it's going to be interesting for PSG. Now, we have Stos saying Timber over Hakimi. He is one that I was considering, but I think that Ashraf Hakimi's in this Champions League, his performances have just been at a higher level than Timber. Timber overall, like if you contribute or add in his contributions to Arsenal's defense and going forward at times in the Premier League as well. Timber is a guy who I think has been sort of trending the fastest this season in that position. But right now, I'm still giving the crown to Ashraf Hakimi. But Timber, whew, with Hakimi being out injured for a bit, maybe Timber's going to move into that position now, that number one right back in the world position pretty quickly. So we'll see. Now, next up, we have our center mid. We're moving into the midfield. And we were talking about how both Nuno Mendes and Hakimi are big parts of PSG success. This guy, where would Liverpool be without Dominic Szoboszlai, right? Scary to think about for Liverpool supporters right now because through the good, he was there with some big goals and assists. Through the bad, he's there with big goals and assists. Not to mention a guy who's made a name for himself as an attacking midfielder. Slot has been able to put him anywhere, center mid, play him deep, play him in a more advanced position, play him at right back. In the Champions League, he has 1 goal and 3 assists in 4 matches. The one match he didn't have a goal contribution in, playing right back against Galatasaray, so we'll forgive him there. But since he grew that hair out, since he got that flow, his dead ball delivery has leveled up somehow. Man's looking like Pirlo out there and has the dead ball accuracy to back up his looks, I mean, I love watching Dominic Szoboszlai play right now. He's the kind of player that sort of lifts pulses now when you see him standing over the ball. The kind of player that the whole crowd is screaming, shoot, when he's, 35 yards out and he has a little bit of space. It doesn't matter. They just want to see him hit that thing. When he's standing over a ball at a free kick, gets your pulses raising, right? So he is a big time player who is fulfilling his potential now. Dominic Szoboszlai, very, very important. So says fair point, coin flip between the, yeah, they're very, very good. Michael says, where's LeBron? Hey man, we haven't got to the strikers yet. There's still time to get LeBron in there, okay? We still got time. Just be patient. His time is coming. Now, speaking of, I don't know how to segue from that. You got me. But we're gonna move on to the right wing now, and where would Barcelona be without this guy, Fermin Lopez? I'll play him on the right, but I'll allow him to float inside as well. He's been so important to them, and he almost left Barcelona this past summer. He was so close to joining. I think Chelsea was one of the main names that people were talking about. What a signing he would have been for them. But he ends up staying at FC Barcelona. And again, where would they be without his contributions this season? Because he's been pretty exceptional so far for FC Barcelona. He facilitated 2 of their goals against Club Brugge last night, helping save a point against the Belgian side. One of those assists, not many players would think to pull it off, and not many would have the ability to pull it off. I'm talking about that little back heel flick to Yamal. As you can see, 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 goals and assists across all competitions this season, across 10 games. So he's going, 10 matches, 10 goal contributions. He is supplying the goals, the assists, and the excitement. I mean, he's one of the guys on the pitch where when he's on the ball, you do get excited to see how many players he can beat, how he can combine with Lamine Yamal or Marcus Rashford or what have you. He can score all kinds of ways, bangers, picking out the corner low and composed, anything. Last season, he scored 10 goals in total. He's already on 6 in just 10 matches. And in this competition against Olympiacos, I think it was, he got that hat trick, 2 assists against Club Brugge. So when you consider all of the matches he's missed, which is actually only 1 now that I think about it, but 5 goal contributions in just 3 appearances. This man is unbelievable. So if he stays fit, I'm guessing he could get up to around 30 goal contributions this season. Especially with Rafinha being injured for so long, they've needed him even more, right? So Fermin Lopez, fantastic. Stoss in the app says Hungarian Ronaldo. Yeah, the way he hits that. But yeah, the way that Szoboszlai can just play anywhere has been unbelievable. And look, I like to see him in a more advanced position. I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of people who watched him when he was at Salzburg and Leipzig, etc. But he's still providing goal contribution no matter where he is. So shout out Dominic Szoboszlai. All right, now in the cam position, Playing near Fermin in sort of a central attacking midfield role, I have none other than Harry Kane. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Company has quite literally rolled Kane out in this position a few times this season. And even when his starting position may be striker, in practice, he's still dropping deep, even out of possession when Bayern are defending. Against PSG the other day, we saw Kane in the first half and in the second half, because they were defending so deep, running all the way back to the 18 to try to win the ball back. It's just unbelievable. Against Borussia Dortmund as well, we had him doing a sort of last-ditch sliding tackle on the edge of his own box. It's crazy. No, so it's not just in possession that he's dropping deep to get on the ball, but out of possession as well. At times he's almost played like an 8. But anyway, he's clearly fantastic at this role, and he clearly enjoys this role. He has the skill set to pull it off as well, with his great passing ability, his vision. He's very composed on the ball. He has good control, and he can sneak forward for a few goals as well, can't he? 3 teams have perfect records after 4 Champions League games: Bayern, Inter, and Arsenal. But Bayern are the only one that have won 16 out of 16 games this season. And a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of thanks can be to Mr. Harry Kane and the 22 goals that he has scored in 16 competitions, 5 in 16 matches, not 16 competitions. Whoa, talk about overloaded schedules there. 22 in 16 matches, 5 in 4 in the Champions League in particular. He's a hot hand. Shane on YouTube, hello to you as well. Thank you for joining me, Shane. What do you think of the team so far? Do let me know who you would want to see in this team as well. But now let's go over to the left wing, and we have Mr. Kylian Mbappe. I know this is a very attack-minded team. This team might get scorched in transition, but I mean, we just have to believe that they're going to press and do really well in the attack and not have to worry about defending. That's my sort of handsy flick kind of approach. But anyway, it was a rough night for Kylian Mbappe against Liverpool, but that can't take away from the rest of his matches in this competition, right? Even against Juve, where he didn't get a goal, he provided so much danger, which provides space for his teammates for them to sort of thrive in. He still has 5 goals in 4 matches in the Champions League. Now, there is someone who came close to taking his place. We'll get to that. But when you look at Mbappe's output and his overall form this season, a team without him in it would just look so weird. How are we supposed to drop someone who has 5 goals in 4 matches and terrifies defenses more than almost anyone in Europe right now? Someone who can do pretty much anything in the attack, run in behind, create chances for himself, create chances for his teammates, beat you on the dribble. I mean, he's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare to play against. He's tied for second in the top scorer race. And similarly to what I was saying about Courtois, Mbappe is someone who wins matches, right? Well, Courtois does it in a very different way, but they're 2 sides of the same coin, right? So Mbappe can win matches for Real Madrid. And even when he isn't getting goals in a Real Madrid win, he's still beating players. He's still causing havoc in behind. He's still forcing big saves out of the keeper. He's still combining with his teammates. So that is why Kylian Mbappe is in this team. Now we're going to jump up to the strikers. Ooh, who could they be? I'm sure you can guess who one of them is, but the other one is someone who is actually keeping up, not just keeping up with Erling Haaland, but has surpassed him. It is Victor Osimhen of Galatasaray. And somewhat out of nowhere, Osimhen is the Champions League top goal scorer with 6 goals. He actually missed the first match through injury, which makes it all the more impressive. So from 3 matches, he scored 6 goals, increasing his number each time. 1 against Liverpool, 2 against Bodo Glimt, and 3 against Ajax. He just got a hat trick. So, Osimhen joining Galatasaray was kind of a surprise, but staying there on a contract like this, signed until 2029, also surprising. But even more surprising is that, these teams that needed a striker so badly this summer, like your Uniteds, wouldn't just cough up the cash for him, or Chelsea is forever linked with him as well. I know his wages are high, probably the biggest turnoff there, but this guy is a machine. He's part of this Galatasaray team that is doing very, very well at the moment, should make it to the next round for sure. So we should be seeing a lot more of Victor Osimhen. 6 goals in 3 matches, 12 in his last 8 across all competitions. So crazy work from Osimhen. This is sort of I'm not going to say a golden age for striker, but we have a lot of strike. It feels like it's been a while since we've had this many strikers all operating at this insane more goals than matches kind of level. Or maybe I just have short-term memory. I don't know. I really don't know. But finally, let's see who our final striker is here. Rounding out our team, It's Erling Haaland, Mr. Champions League at this point, threatening to take over the scoring charts with his unbelievable Champions League goal scoring record. He scored once again against Borussia Dortmund, his former side, who he's been torching since 2022. And in all, he's on 5 goals so far this season from 4 matches, scoring in every match, actually, not just in bunches. He's been spreading them out nicely. He's been on fire this season in general. I mean, scoring more goals than matches played in every competition thus far, as I was sort of speaking about with Victor Osimhen. And in general, his general play, how many times can I say general, has been much improved over the last year or so. His movement is as good as ever in the box, but he's also better on the ball, I find. As you can see, Erling Haaland is now 10th in the all-time Champions League top scorers list. That's why I call him Mr. Champions League. But like I was saying, his overall play, his hold-up play is good. He can pick out a pass with his left foot. He looks far more composed on the ball, and like he can add more to Manchester City's game in those matches where maybe he's not getting as much service as he would like, and he would just sort of float around. He can get a little bit more involved now. And he's leading Man City. He captained them against Borussia Dortmund, 18 goals in 14 matches. I mean, there are a few strikers who can keep up with this man besides Victor Osimhen. And, he's only 25. So I would not be surprised if he sticks to this trajectory, ends up being the top goal scorer of all time in this competition. Ronaldo, he scored a lot after he turned 30, so that's the challenge for Haaland. We'll see if he can do that, but I mean, you wouldn't put it past him because he's just a guy that's never happy no matter how many goals he has scored. So that's it. That's it. That is my team, my 11, my 4-1-3-2 attacking power. We have Thibaut Courtois, someone who's making a ton of saves for Real Madrid. Even in their losses, he still made 8 saves. That just goes to show how busy he was. And just in general, bailing out that defense often. You have the right back and left back of PSG, both unfortunately injured in the last match, but they provide so much both in defense and going forward. Both of them can handle some of the top wingers. Our center back pairing, we have Gabriel, a team who has, at Arsenal, hasn't conceded a single goal so far. And Mickey van de Ven, who is not only scoring ridiculous goals, but also playing very, very well defensively for Tottenham. Something that I think Tottenham supporters always saw in him. And he has had good performances, but he just would pick up injuries and, it's hard to make a difference when you're always injured. Availability is the best ability. Szoboszlai in the midfield at center mid, so important for Liverpool, in my opinion, their most important player so far this season. Then you have Kane as a cam, dropping deep, getting in on the goals and the assists. Mbappe on that left wing, maybe he'll be a little bit unhappy sharing that space with Haaland, but that's okay. Mbappe flying up that wing, he could do it all for Real Madrid. 5 goals in 4 matches. Erling Haaland scoring goals. We just talked about him, a ton of goals. I mean, this is his favorite competition to play in, I think, similarly to how Cristiano Ronaldo loved playing in the Champions League. I think Haaland just turns it up a notch when he's in the Champions League, when he hears that anthem. Victor Osimhen, again, like I said, came out of nowhere with that hat trick to sort of shoot up the scoring charts. But Victor Osimhen, still only 25 years old, a guy who still has a lot of career ahead of him. I do wonder if anyone's going to snatch him away from Galatasaray because he has such a good nose for goal. That diving header that he scored against Ajax was beautiful. And finally, Fermin Lopez over on the right has been one of Barcelona's more important players when they've been dealing with injuries to both Lamine Yamal and Rafinha. He has stepped up, as well as someone else who we might speak about in a moment, but that is my very attacking team of the tournament thus far. So we're going to move on to some honorable mentions now, because there are a couple of guys who I think we got to keep our eye on. First up, the guy who could have taken Courtois' spot in the goalkeeper position, Nick Pope of Newcastle United. He has 16 saves in the tournament so far. But the saves he had made have been pretty unreal. He's been in top form. Shout out to Guglielmo Vicario as well. He's been very good for Tottenham. But Pope has been integral to Newcastle United's great start, where he has 3 clean sheets. The only team to score against him, FC Barcelona. Oh, yeah, and he had that assist against Benfica, that insane throw all the way down the pitch to assist. I believe it was Harvey Barnes for that goal. So Nick Pope, fantastic. Next up, center mid, Çalhanoğlu, 2 assists and 1 goal so far. He almost made the midfield. It looked like he was on his way out this past summer, and him and Lautaro were sort of publicly beefing, as well as the CEO slash president of Inter, Beppe Marotta. That was kind of a weird moment, but they set their differences aside. They moved past it for now, and Çalhanoğlu has been balling out in the Champions League. Like I said, 2 goals and an assist, which is a great number for someone who plays sort of as a regista, right? Sort of that deep lying playmaker. So Çalhanoğlu's reinvented himself over the last 3-ish years, and he's still putting in performances for Inter. Next, another one from Newcastle United, which shows how well their Champions League campaign is going. It's Anthony Gordon, who's been fantastic with 4 goals and 1 assist, almost single-handedly ripped Benfica apart, which is pretty easy to do, and I'm allowed to say that because I am a Benfica supporter. He scored against Barcelona, got a brace against Union SG, unfortunately injured against Athletic Club, but he's been a menace in the Champions League. And finally, another one from Barcelona, someone who's been dominant on the wing. It's not Lamine Yamal. It's Marcus Rashford. There was so much up in the air with Marcus Rashford this past summer. So many question marks pertaining to how he would do at Barcelona. And look, his performance in the Champions League speak for themselves. 4 goals, 2 assists, went quiet against Club Brugge, but was integral to their wins over Olympiacos and Newcastle, right? He's shown, as we spoke about a few weeks ago, that he's pretty perfect for Hansi Flick's system. Pace, he can beat a man on the ball. He can combine with his teammates very well because he has footballing IQ. He can play a good ball in behind or across, and he can finish off chances himself from distance. He scored a header against Newcastle United. He took one down and slammed it near post against Olympiacos. He's been doing fantastic. So look, Barca need to address their defense, and people have questioned the Rashford move. Oh, they should have focused on defenders instead. But without him out there, I mean, he's filled in pretty brilliantly for Rafinha, even playing in Lewandowski's spot through the middle at times. He's not like for either of them, but great output from him in their stead. So that's the top team and some honorable mentions, guys. So, I mean, it's tough to call. As you can see, the honorable mentions, those guys could have made it, but that'll do it. As always, I want to thank you guys for letting your thoughts be known in the chat. Shout out Shane and Austin, everyone else who are dropping their comments in there. Look, we have one more weekend of matches, and then it is a international break. So keep yourself safe and sane. Watch some World Cup qualifiers. There's still some cool matches to sort out. Some first-time teams could be qualifying. But beyond that, thank you once again for watching. I'm Adrian, and take care, guys.